الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والذين يرمون أزواجهم ولم يكن لهم شهداء إلا أنفسهم فشهادة أحدهم 4 شهادات بالله إنه لمن الصادقين والخامسة أن لعنة الله عليه إن كان من الكاذبين ويدرأ عنها العذاب أن تشهد 4 شهادات بالله إنه لمن الكاذبين والخامسة أن غضب الله عليها إن كان من الصادقين ولولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته وأن الله تواب حكيم صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Noor, and as we had said when we were starting the surah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given certain injunctions in this surah about chastity and maintaining the honor and covering oneself and lowering the gaze. So this fourth injunction that is given, that we are reciting tonight, before we understand and we approach the translation of this, it will be helpful to understand the background, inshallah. So last night we had read that if a person accuses a woman of adultery or fornication, then they have to bring 4 eyewitnesses in total. And this is the ayah that the Prophet ﷺ recited, and there are several accounts, at least 2 different accounts, authentic sound narrations mentioned in Bukhari and one in Muslim Sharif as well, that when the Prophet ﷺ recited this ayah, then the question that comes to mind is that if one is a non-related person, then it's not very personal to them, that if somebody is doing something, they are getting punishment or not. But what about if somebody sees their partner, their zawj or their wife, busy in such a heinous act? And this was the question that arose in the minds of Sahaba as well. Sa'ad ibn Ubadah radiallahu anh, he asked the Prophet ﷺ, Ya Rasulullah, is that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it? Is that the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is? And the Prophet ﷺ did not really like the way he asked it. So the Prophet ﷺ asked the Ansar, he was an Ansari, a leader of the Ansar. So he asked the Ansar that, are you listening to what your leader is saying? Because he was the leader of Ansar. The Prophet ﷺ asked the Ansar that, are you listening? Did you hear what your leader is asking? So they said that, Ya Rasulullah, do not reproach him. He is asking because of an extreme sense of honor. And he came to the Prophet ﷺ and said that, Ya Rasulullah, I do not have any bad intention behind it. I do not doubt it. Verily it is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the question in my mind is that what if someone sees their own wife? And then if they have to bring this matter to the knowledge of the qadi, justice or the ruler, then if they do not have any other witness, then they should be ready to be flogged 80 times. And otherwise, what should they do? They should run and get 3 other witnesses, na'uzubillah, and then by the time that they do it, of course, the person who's doing it will run away. So the Prophet ﷺ remained quiet. And then a few days later, it so happened that in both these narrations that are mentioned, there's different people, but in both these narrations it is mentioned that it did actually happen. One is the mention of Hilal ibn Umayyah radiallahu anh, that when he was coming back at night time, he came to his house and he actually did find such a situation. And he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said this to the Prophet ﷺ, that Ya Rasulullah, I have seen such a thing. Now the Prophet ﷺ told him that the punishment of accusing a woman without having 4 witnesses is this. He said that, Ya Rasulullah, I am very sure of what I saw, and I am confident that Allah will decide about me. And then Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam came with this ayah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the solution out of this situation. And this is a very specific case where a husband sees their wife indulging in such an act. Just recording is going on, right? That's fine. We can take it from here. That's fine. Let it be. So, the Prophet ﷺ recited this ayah that Jibreel alayhi salam came and told the solution of this, that وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ أَزْوَاجَهُم, those people who accuse their wives of adultery, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ شُهَدَاء, while they have no witnesses, إِلَّا أَنفُسُهُم, except for their own self. فَشَهَادَةُ أَحَدِهِمْ أَرْبَعُ شَهَادَاتٍ بِاللَّهِ, then the witness or the testimony of one of them would be to swear. So the way that they can witness is to swear arba'u shahadatin billah, 4 times, 4 oaths by Allah, swear by Allah, that innahu lamina sadiqeen, that he is truthful. So if a person is accusing their wife or they found their wife, then they have to swear by Allah 4 times with these words, innahu lamina sadiqeen, that he is truthful. Wal khamisatu, and the 5th oath will be anna la'natallahi. This is called li'an. The Shari term is li'an, where they invite the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anna la'natallahi in kana min al-kadhibin. The 5th time they are going to say that the la'nat of Allah, the curse of Allah be upon him if he is among the liars. So this is the way that a person is supposed to testify before the court or the judge, or this is how Hilal ibn Umayyah radiallahu anh testified before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had him say this, repeat the words 4 times. He did it very confidently. The 5th time the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, beware, you are inviting the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you are among the kadhibin, if you are among the liars. So this is it. Be very careful about it. That you are inviting the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the day of judgment you will not be saved, essentially. He very confidently said, Ya Rasulullah, I am confident that if I say this, Allah will not punish me in the day of judgment. And he took the 5th oath as well. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in fact, before this, the Prophet ﷺ had called his wife as well, because this is the method that the court calls both the man and the wife. And then he asked his wife to say the same thing, if she can say the same thing. So this is mentioned, وَيَدْرَأُ عَنْهَا الْعَذَابَ أَن تَشْهَدَ أَرْبَعَ شَهَادَاتٍ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ لَمِنَ الْكَاذِبِينَ وَالْخَامِسَةَ أَنَّ غَضَبَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا إِنْ كَانَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. So the wife would say, and this will remove the punishment if she does so from the woman, if she swears 4 oaths by Allah that he, the accusing husband, is certainly among the liars. So the 4 times she says is that he is lying. By Allah he is lying, by Allah he is lying, by Allah he is lying, by Allah he is lying. وَالْخَامِسَةَ أَنَّ غَضَبَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهَا إِنْ كَانَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ. And the 5th time she would say that may Allah's wrath, may Allah's curse be on her if the husband is actually truthful. So 4 times the wife also very confidently, the wife of Hilal ibn Umayyah radiallahu anhu, said this, that she is truthful. Basically her husband is min al-kadhibin. The 5th time the Prophet ﷺ again warned her, just like he had warned Hilal ibn Umayyah, that beware that what you're going to say is inviting the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, because the reality of the matter is only known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you are inviting the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She hesitated, but then she said, yes, Ya Rasulullah, I am confident to take this 5th one as well. And she took the 5th, she swore the 5th time as well by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that may the curse of Allah be upon her if he is from among the truthful. And when that happens, when these 5 swears have been taken on both each side, then li'an is complete. The meaning of li'an being complete is that husband and wife are separated and become haram for each other for life. But herein is a solution, that husband definitely does not want to remain with the wife anymore, but they do not have any witnesses to prove, so that cannot also be done. Now on the opposite side, the haddul qadhaf, which is mentioned, that if somebody brings 1 witness alone upon a woman, then they will be flogged 80 times. That is also taken away. Otherwise the wife can say that, can ask the court to flog this person 80 times because he is accusing falsely. So this is a solution, that each of them take 5 oaths, 4 of one kind, 5th incurring the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they both do it confidently, then the li'an is complete. They are separated for life. Either the husband gives talaq, divorce, or if they do not do it, the court does it, the qazi does it, and then they have to go through the iddat, and the talaq is complete and the li'an is complete. Then they can never ever be together again, can never ever enter into nikah. And this is how it happened in both the narrations of Hilal ibn Umayyah radiallahu anhu and the other one as well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ تَوَّابٌ حَكِيمٌ. And it is all that, had it not been that for the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy, and had it not been that Allah is most relenting, all wise, basically, if Allah was not merciful towards you by giving you these clear, wise commands, you would have run into several hardships. And those hardships, an example of this is going to be mentioned in the story of the ifk, the great lie against Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers, Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha, that the next 10 ayat talk about from 11 to 20. Inshallah, we'll start the account of that next week. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم اجعلنا من أهل القرآن الذين هم أهلك وخاصتك وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.